G'day folks, this is Sim and this is a world tour of my Agrarian Skies Minecraft game at the moment. I'm actually going to explain at the end of the episode why I haven't put a lot up recording wise, but I thought I would take the opportunity here first to show you guys what I have been doing, because I certainly haven't quit Minecraft. There's just been a lot going on. So to give a quick rundown, Agrarian Skies is a skyblock modded mod pack put together by Jaded Cat, the same sadist who's responsible for Magic Farm, which I'm having so much fun with as well. And I've picked up a few bits and pieces here and there, and then I saw Generic B actually start a Let's Play on it. Packrat's been doing it, streaming, but Packrat's in the States, so his streams generally aren't on when I'm on. Direwolf and Pahima have just started a Let's Play too. I'd certainly recommend, if you want to find out a bit about the mod pack, to watch Generic B's, or go and watch some of Packrat's early stuff that he has actually saved on Twitch. But I don't know for sure exactly how much is there. There wasn't a lot the first time I looked, and he doesn't seem to put a lot of episodes up onto YouTube, although he has done a few. Anyway, Agrarian Skies, as I said, is a skyblock map, but it does something that's never been done before that I'm aware of in Minecraft. It uses a new mod called the Hardcore Questing mod to actually give you a whole series of quests that you have to complete along the way. You get this book when you start the game, and the book itself tells you a little bit about where you are and why you're here, and then we have all of these quests which we can complete. So it's broken up into chapters. In chapter 1 it teaches you all about how to play the game itself and how the questing book works. And you can see there are 25 total quests, 22 have been unlocked. I've completed 20 already. 2 are available for completion, and there are 2 with unclaimed rewards. Now the ones with unclaimed rewards, we'll probably have a look at those very quickly, but as you can see, each of these quests has an icon, and when you select it, it tells you what you need to do. So at the beginning of the game, it's like Magic Farm. You don't really have much in the way of crafting abilities. You can't craft a wooden axe or a wooden pick, for example. You have to go via the Tinker's Construct and build a crafting setup and work up from there. And for each quest that you complete, you have these rewards, including some bonus rewards. So if we bounce back here and have a look at this one, we have an unclaimed reward where I have to actually craft an aqueous accumulator, an autonomous activator, and a vacuum hopper. And I can then pick, I've done that obviously, pick one of these reward bags, and we'll go for the one on the end, claim the reward, and we will find now, if we pop out of here, that in my inventory I have a quarter of a heart and I have a reward bag, and it's a good reward bag, so that could be promising. What we'll do is we'll just quickly throw this extra stuff I'm carrying around in here to make sure I've got some space. We will grab these hearts, and now these hearts are very important because it is a hardcore mod. If you die, you die, and if you have no life, then your world is deleted, game over. However, you start the game off with 2 lives, and completing quests allows you to receive these various hearts or heart pieces depending upon the quest, and you can then consume those hearts to give yourself more life. So 2 quarter hearts gives me half, a half plus a half gives me a full heart. You've got to watch. I have lost 1 life because sometimes you'll get rotten hearts and they actually hurt you, and that's obviously to be expected from somebody like Jaded Cat. However, if we eat the heart, we'll see that it's increased my life total. I now have 9. If we have a look in the book, there it is there, we will see that where does it show? It should show my lives somewhere. It was showing them before. There it is. 9 lives. So basically I can die 9 times. On the 9th death, that's it, game over. Now, one of the cool things about the HQM, the hardcore questing mode, is that it now has the ability to multiplay and complete quests together, and that's what Direwolf and Pahimar are doing at the moment. But anyway, this is going to be just a tour of what I've been doing. You start off, or the map that I chose to start off with, you've either got a flat map or this lovely little house. I started off in the house and went from there. The actual territory that you get is pretty much this green terrain that you see around here, which is all made out of hardened clay, so you can't actually use it for anything. You get one patch of dirt there. You get some saplings, some bone meal, and a little bit of stuff to get you started, but there's very little. There's no food except for apples that you get from the saplings. However, there is the ability, using a mod called Ex Nihilio, to get silkworms. And silkworms will allow you to infest trees to get string, but you can also cook them up and eat them. They're not worth much, but when you're starving to death, it's better than nothing. So we start off with the trees, and there's one there, and I'll just give a very quick demonstration of how it works. We have no resources whatsoever, not even stone. However, the trees drop saplings. We probably should check that reward bag while we're here, shouldn't we? Let's do that now. Let's see whether we get some good stuff or not. We got a fishing rod from Mine Factory Reloaded. I'm pretty sure that fishing rod is explosive, and yeah, we might be a little bit careful before we play with that, I think. Anyway, the saplings can be put into these barrels, and I'll show you over here the barrel setup that I've got now. Probably should kill these mobs while we're here. Most of them die, but some of the tougher ones will survive, which gives me a little bit of XP, as you can see from down the bottom. And I'll just throw this extra stuff in here for now to get rid of it. Let's tidy up my inventory. Alright, so how it works is you start off with nothing but trees. However, tree saplings can be composted into dirt. And as you can see, I've got a whole bunch that are working their way through at the moment. And this is a manual process, although it can be automated, and I am going to be automating it fairly soon. But I've had other priorities to worry about, and I've got more than enough dirt to get me through. I've also managed to pick up some ender lilies, which has given me access to ender pearls, which is a major bonus because it's gotten me to the point where I'll be able to start making tesseracts. And again, if you're not familiar with modded Minecraft, don't worry about some of the terminology. So we take a piece of dirt like this, and we craft a sifter out of string and wood. Let's just do one, shall we? No point wasting the dirt, I don't really need to. When you sift dirt, thank you very much, no. When you start sifting dirt, you get stones. And it looks like we are going to need one more after all, because the stones can be crafted together to make cobblestone. And from there, things start to ramp up. Now, let's just have a quick look. Have we got one in here we can take right now? Yes, we do. One of the other early tools that you can make is a stone hammer. And the point of a stone hammer is to be able to break down things such as cobblestone. So if I put that cobblestone down on the ground and I break it up, I get gravel. Now I can sift that gravel and I will get various things, most likely ores, but there are a few other bits and pieces that you can get out of gravel. Or I can take that gravel and I can refine it down to sand, and refine that sand down again to dust. Now the dust can be put into a barrel that's been filled with water, and they will actually fill from the rain because you don't actually have a water source to start off, you are dependent upon the rain. And if you put the dust into the water, you will get clay. And clay is what is used to make some of your next level of progression. What I will do, in fact, is there is something that's fairly important, so I'll just quickly break down this dirt. And I'll show you something else. Let's see what we get out of here. One more. Okay, and we got some seeds, so that would have allowed us to get some wheat going with some of the dirt that we'd also made up. But for now, let's just grab this cobblestone, and we're going to break that down, and we'll see what we get out of it. Gravel first. Now, instead of pulverizing or pounding the gravel further, I'm going to feed the gravel through the sifter. And when we feed the gravel through the sifter, we will get resources out of it. And again, this is a process that can be automated once you get enough to get you started. And what I've managed to get is 2 broken iron ore, broken silver ore, a quicksilver drop from Thorncraft, some flint, a piece of coal, and some broken aluminium ore. Now, 4 ores together in the crafting grid will give you a gravel. If you then pound the gravel, and it's an important mechanic, you will get crushed iron ore. And you will normally get more, only a little bit, but more than what you start with. And if you then combine those together, you'll get iron ore sand, which you can then hammer again to get iron ore dust. And the iron ore dust, when it's crafted together, will give you what you need, pulverized iron ore, which you can then feed into a furnace or a smeltery to get your materials. So processing the materials has a big effect on how things pan out. So let's head down here. Obviously this is where I started off with my trees, and I built a little farm over here which I have since extended. None of this is automatic. Some sugarcane. When you very first start the game, you are really dependent upon any source of food you can get, and fishing is one of the first things that you can do. This water source, which comes from up the top up there, actually ended up falling off over there. I blocked it here, which allowed me to get a cast in that actually would work to allow me to fish. And I'll show you more of what's downstairs shortly. What we have here is my very first automated setup for materials, and what we've got is we've got an autonomous activator which originally was just manually fed with hammers, and the autonomous activator is sitting next to a cobblestone generator, and every time the cobblestone gets popped out there, the autonomous activator hits it with a hammer and breaks it, and it falls into a hopper below, which then feeds into that chest there. Now I've since then made a setup which actually allows me to build the hammers automatically, feed them into this chest, which then feeds them into these to keep it running constantly. So this is my primary material source at the moment. There are a couple of quicker ways to do this, but at the moment this works extremely well. Ooh, I don't really want that. So I don't have any need, okay, it's not going to get to me. I don't have any need to really change it up just yet. That may change in the future. The next thing that I built once I'd started to get some materials was this mob grinder. And I did derp up a little bit because the initial grinder that I made wasn't designed to deal with Enderman, so I actually had to make some modifications to it. But obviously the mob drops that we get from the grinder make a big difference. We get bone meal for speeding up plant growth. We also get some weaponry and some armor. We get gunpowder, which has a few uses, although I haven't gotten to those yet. And we get zombie flesh, which is important because zombie flesh can be composted, so it's another source of dirt, which is pretty important. Something else that I did was worked out this automatic system for harvesting bloodwood trees. You can get bloodwood saplings from netherrack, and you can make netherrack using ex nihilo. There's a couple of steps to it, but it's not too hard. And what I have here is I have a system which is pretty straightforward. We have a harvester, we have an autonomous activator, because that's the only way you can really plant bloodwood seeds, because they have to go on the ceiling. And it feeds into this system here, and the reason I'm using the bloodwoods is, one, I love the wood, it's fire resistant and it just looks awesome, although some people might find it a little garish, I don't care. But most importantly, it's an additional source of redstone, and redstone is pretty rare and obviously pretty important. The wood is getting fed into this little survivalist generator, which does a fine job of keeping this running at a constant pace. I could speed it up with bone meal, but there's no real need. This is basically just a way for me to get more redstone, and it's really cool. And what I did do, as you can see, is I built an extension up the top up here which will handle Enderman, and it's a pretty rough job, I've got to admit. It drops them down here, but it doesn't kill them, so I've got to come in and take them out, but they're one hit to kill, so it's not a big deal. And that was how I got my initial ender pearls to get me started. From there, once you've got the ender pearls, am I over full? Yeah, I am. I just picked up all of that stuff. What do I not need? The quicksilver drop. Okay. Once you get started with the ender pearls, then you can work towards ender lilies, and then the process gets a lot better, a lot quicker. But this is just a standard dark room spawner with trapdoors to encourage the mobs to walk into the border streams. It's not the most efficient thing in the world, but it does the job, and it does the job pretty well. Just jump back down here, and we'll go from there. Now, one of the early things that I did once I again started getting materials was I made that little area out there, and because we're in a void map, putting down some dirt and getting grass means that you will eventually get normal mob spawn. So that's how you get things such as cows and chickens and sheep and so forth. The other thing that you can do is you can use some special spores that you get to convert dirt to mycelium, and when you convert dirt to mycelium, the barrels that are full of water get filled up with witch water, and the witch water process creates mushrooms, and it also allows you to make soul sand, because if you put sand or dirt, I can't remember which right now, into witch water, you get soul sand. Once I got some mobs going, one of the things that I recently did was I built this grinder, and this is designed using a lot of Mine Factory Reloaded stuff. So underneath here we have a planter which is planting wheat. The wheat is getting fed back into the harvester here and through into the breeder. The breeder then breeds the cows, and it looks like I've lost a few down into the bottom section. I would redo this design if I had the opportunity, because it's working well but nowhere near as well as it could. The little ones get pushed down here and they then grow up. When they grow up, they get sorted. When they get sorted, the adults get moved into here, and as you can see, what we have is we have a grinder which is then killing the cows and pulling the materials out. Over there we have processing for sewage and sludge, which is made by a lot of the Mine Factory Reloaded stuff. which gives you some additional resources, but you've got to keep away from it because it can actually hurt you. Gives you hunger and wither effect and all sorts of delightfully yucky stuff. So, how am I processing my ores? Well, this is where it gets interesting. One of the first things that you need to build is a smeltery, and what I currently have is a setup where the gravel is coming from here, which is the automatic hammering system, and I've also got a little bit of extra gravel coming from over here because I have a setup which uses, let me show you how it works. Oh, okay, we'll try that again. The crucibles from Ex Nihilo will turn cobblestone into lava. It's a slow process, but it's consistent, and all you need is a heat source underneath the crucibles to get it started. So I have lava down there. Torches work just as well. This system uses an autonomous activator, a terrain smasher to break cobblestone from a cobble gen up into cobblestone, which then gets fed into here. The lava then gets fed into these magmatic dynamos to provide my power system, and the leftover ends up in this chest here, and some of it is pulled out and put through this pulverizer to make more gravel, which then feeds back into the system over here as well. And there are a few other extra bits and pieces. I've got an igneous extruder tacked into the system to make myself smooth stone and, more importantly, obsidian. And I think that's the majority of it just there. The rest of that is just input for the mob farm, and as you can see, we've got mob essence building up, which we'll be using at some point in the future. The materials, though, come into this system here, and they get fed down here, and they go into this bank of sifters, which are all powered, fed by autonomous activators, and there's some additional pulverizers to convert some of the gravel into sand and dust, so that I get a good mix of the odd bits and pieces that you can get when you break stuff down. Let's just get this out of my inventory now while we can. It'll get fed back through the system, so it'll end up where it needs to belong. Because everything that gets broken gets sucked up using a vacuum hopper, and a vacuum hopper is an absolute godsend in this particular map because of the way the sifters work. They throw the stuff up into the air. You can catch it with hoppers, but it's painful, whereas the vacuum hopper does a great job. So as you can see, we've got all this gravel feeding down here into this system, where it's getting put into the autonomous activators, which are then pushing it through the sifters, and the materials are coming up into this system over here. Now, this could be compacted down quite a bit, but I was learning to do this for myself, so I just had to work my way through, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out, to be perfectly honest, even though it's a monstrosity of a factory. The materials come through this main piping system, and they get broken out depending upon what they are. So iron ore gravel gets, or iron ore, broken iron ore gets put through this cyclic assembler. When we get 4 of them, it makes up an iron ore gravel, which gets fed down into this processing facility over here. The remainder of the materials work their way through all of these. So we've got broken, crushed, and pulverized, and they all are getting converted into whatever their specific resource is. So this one gives me pulverized iron ore, which is the final step. Once they come through here, they get fed into this little beast. This little beast is an enclosed hammering system which takes the resources, and once they're in here, what have we got? We've got clay. There we go. We see that popped in there. It gets put into here, and this system around the corner here hammers it, And again, we've got another cyclic assembler which is keeping it supplied with hammers. And the resources that are broken up, as you can see, get pulled out and they get pushed back into the system. Now they'll go into their chests and work their way through, so we're processing everything through each step, which means we're getting the maximum amount of resources out of the system that we can. When you're processing stuff using the hammers, you'll get some extra stuff. So we've got gravel, coal, amber, quicksilver, apatite, lapis, limestone, blaze powder, which only really comes from sand or dust, I think. Certus quartz, which we're going to be using very soon to make an applied energistic system to handle all of our future processing. And then we've got bone meal, more redstone, which coupled with the tree over there has given me enough to get going, glowstone and gunpowder. Now the remainder used to get fed into a whole bank of chests here, and as you can see right now, there's not many left, and the reason for that is because how much space do we have? Let's have a quick look. Yep, you're good and you're not, so you should be able to deal with this one anyway. What I've been doing is I've now built an automated smeltery system, and I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. I've got two smelteries, so I don't have to worry about materials that alloy together. In this particular chest here, we've got tin, silver, nickel or ferrous metal, and aluminium. None of those alloy. And over here we've got the remainder: copper, lead, platinum, gold and iron. They get fed into here, and then the system pumps them out depending upon what is actually in them. So if we have a quick look, you'll see that let's get an empty hand so that we can do this. We've got a casting basin down here which is slowly filling up with platinum, because only molten platinum gets pulled out here. Over here we've got the remainders, and as you can see, it's working its way through. That one's currently empty. In the system at the moment we have all of these, and right now it looks like it's stopped because it's only just been powered up and we don't have quite enough lava in the system. See, that tank's empty, and that tank there is almost empty, and this is only barely producing enough lava to run it. Now it's not a big deal, because once I've finished processing the backlog, I don't need massive amounts of lava, but in the meantime I'll just top this up. So what's happening, as you can see in this one here, is the materials we need to have a look at that from up top, are getting pumped in and turned into molten metal. The molten metal, where's the silver processed? Over this side? Oh, I'm going to starve to death. That's something else you've got to watch out for. The hunger mod that's added to this means that if your hunger gets to 0, you drop dead. There is no tick 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 as your hearts go down. You are dead, so you really do need to keep an eye on that. So as you can see here, the silver is currently flowing through the system at a fairly constant rate, and each time a block gets made, it gets pulled out below. We'll deal with that in a minute. We've got all of this stuff which still needs to be processed through. This is my backlog, and it's working its way through the system. Now when one runs out, the next one will drop into place, and it will process through, and it will basically just go into whichever crucible until a particular crucible is full, at which point it gets pulled out and the whole cycle starts again. This was my original tree farm. In fact, there was two. There was an extension down here. This one's just for rubber. This has been automated now, as you can see from the setup upstairs, but I haven't had any need to take this down just yet. Over here, one of the rewards I got was some spawn eggs, which gave me the mushrooms, and I also, believe it or not, got some horses spawning on that little green patch over there, and I've moved them over to here for now. We're going to do something with them later. And finally, we've got a little cactus farm down here, which is just giving me a little supply of cactus. I'm going to automate. What the? I'm going to assume that an Enderman stole that. I can't think of any other explanation. Anyway, this is going to be my workshop, and I've got to extend this out a little bit further and start moving a few machines over here. But all of the materials that I have been working on, the complicated stuff, is all over here, including a lot of the rewards that I've picked up from completing the quests, which I'm not sure whether they have a use or not, so I'm just holding on to them for now. The processing system, though, pulls the blocks of metal out from over there and feeds them over into this chest here, and the excess stuff will be fed into this chest fairly soon. But right now, as you can see, we have got a lot of metal processing through the system, and there's a massive amount of iron which still hasn't even started. So blocks of gold, tin, silver, ferrous metal, aluminium, copper, it's all coming in now. And this smeltery here, which was my starting smeltery, is what I will use when I need to make up alloys, because I can manually control this. Although I probably will have a look at automating alloy production at some point as well. Depends on whether I need it. My machine power, well, most of it's here. We just have all of the basic stuff: spare pulverizer, redstone furnace, induction smelter, magma crucible, and fluid transposers. And that is pretty much my start. Now I have moved on from there as well and built myself a massive platform down below here, partly for protection if I fall off the edge, which I haven't done yet. I have not lost any lives. I'm really pleased with how things have gone. This is just a simple chicken breeder, old-fashioned style. And this, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how it's set up, but it looks like the map has some custom biome generation, because this biome here is plains, just this marked in section. Over this side here is magical forest. Over here we've got jungle. Go back that way a little bit further and we've got desert, and there's rivers, there's swamplands, there's all of these mini biomes. And what I'm going to do, the whole premise of the mod is the world's been destroyed, everything's terrible, nothing's left, and you have to rebuild the world from nothing. And I'm going to do exactly that. What I am going to do is I'm going to mark all of these biomes off like I have here, and then I'm going to rebuild them. So we'll have a little plains biome here, we'll put some jungle trees over there, we'll get a magical forest going, and yes, I'm literally going to make a mini world down here, and probably move my house down here as well. But there you go. So that's my current system and setup. That's what I've done so far, and I'm really pleased with it. I've been enjoying this a lot, and for those of you who are regular watchers, a bit of an explanation as to why my channel has suddenly gone very quiet. I've had a lot going on at home, particularly health-wise, and that's put a lot of pressure on. And when the pressure goes on, I have to prioritize, and my biggest priority obviously is my day job, because I work a normal day job. I work for the government in the health sector, and paying the bills and feeding myself is probably more important than anything else, which means that I have been pushed for time. I have been having massive issues with sleep, and I do mean massive. I've suffered from insomnia for a very long time. I average about 4 hours night of sleep, 4 hours of sleep a night most of the time, but I've been having situations occur where I'm lucky to get through the night on an hour and a half sleep. And when you're trying to function and work on an hour and a half sleep a night, well, yeah, things aren't real good. So I haven't really had the opportunity to put into editing and various other bits and pieces that I would normally do with Magic Farm and my single player. And I've been feeling pretty down in general about myself and about everything. And this particular mod has just been somewhere for me to pretty much escape, not worry about anything else, not worry too much about recording, but just play and have fun. And that's basically what I've been doing, and I've got to be honest, it is a heck of a lot of fun. It's very challenging when you get started, but once you get rolling along, things get quite a bit easier. You've still got a lot to be worried about, but yeah. Now I will be moving back to recording the Magic Farm series. I will definitely be moving back to recording my Minecraft Vanilla Let's Play. There'll probably be a few other bits and pieces along the way. I haven't decided which series I'm going to keep with, which ones I'm going to let slide. I'm just running around madly at the moment, not actually achieving anything. And yes, we'll see how things go from there. But I did think that I should take the time to tell you guys what was going on, and I really did want to take the opportunity to show this off because yeah, this has been a lot of fun, and I've really enjoyed doing it, and it's certainly taught me a few things about the mods and various other bits and pieces that I can do, and that's been great. And it's just awesome watching all of this come in here from nothing but cobblestone. It's great. Okay, well, look, I hope you enjoyed this, and it is a world tour. It's not something I'm going to be making into an LP, but I probably will record it again at some point once I've come a bit further along and I've got some more interesting stuff to show off. Until then, take care of yourselves, everybody, and ciao for now.